Hi, I'm Jack with QuickStock Films, and this is episode 5 of 10 of my film tool series about the small things that make film and video making easier and faster. This time I want to talk about the DJI Osmo. Many consider this a toy, but I'm going to show you how I use it in full budget productions. You know, I've always been about raising the bar in my productions with motion, using dollies and jibs and things like that. But, you know, we travel so much that carrying that much equipment around just isn't feasible in a lot of cases unless you have the budget to do that. So I initially bought the Osmo not to use as a consumer like fun vlogging camera. I bought it to use it on my full productions. And what made me buy this, we were on a feature film set a few months ago where we had a Ronin, and the problem I saw with the Ronin was it took almost 30 minutes from the time we got it out of the box and assembled it and got it balanced and got it happy and got it working and all the cables and everything it took to get the shot. And then it's just awkward and big and hard to get into really tight places like, you know, down in a corner underneath something and things like that. And I was just really frustrated with it. So the first opportunity I had to get an Osmo, I went ahead and got one. And here's an example of some of the things that I have done with my little Osmo. All right, so now I have like every accessory known to man for this thing. I've got the extension arm and all of these adapters and screws and washers and plates and even a couple of extra things made by a Camar. These are pretty cool. I'm gonna do an episode just on these two items a little bit later. But I found the most valuable two items that I use every day, every time I use the Osmo, of course, is this base. This thing is invaluable. In fact, I just leave it on there, even when I'm flying with it. That way I can just set it down, because it's a very awkward device without that. There really needs to be a 1/4-20 screw hole in the bottom of this thing, but I know because that's where the battery is, that's not possible. So I just leave it on my base all the time, and it helps kind of balance it. It gives a little bottom balance to it. And then the other really important tool I use, I've got this one. This is a hot shoe mount, but it takes like all these screws and washers and things to make it actually work. Well, I just got this little deal here that just clamps on the bracket, and it gives you two hot shoes. This is just a really cool thing. It's really simple. I think it was like $10, and all of this stuff I'm mentioning will be in the links below, so you can check it out and get some if you want. But so my recommendation are the two things are this little hot shoe mount that goes on the back arm and the base for this thing. So now I wanted to show you some of the ways that I rig this up when I'm on production. Of course, I have my base plate on it. If I'm working with talent that needs to have a wireless transmitter on, I'll put my little Sennheiser wireless transmitter on here and go right into the audio input on the DJI Osmo, and it actually does a really, really good job recording directly to the card on the Osmo. You have to watch your audio settings, and you can't adjust the audio, but you can adjust the output of your transmitter into the Osmo, giving you really, really nice audio levels. And then I use my little LumiCube. I have a review on my channel. You can check this out, my LumiCube review, and this is a really, really cool little durable light. All right, so then my second favorite configuration is if I don't have a wireless transmitter on the talent or whoever I'm working with, and I just need ambient sounds, like if I'm walking through the grass or something like that, and I want to get the footsteps that match the video, then I'll use my little Rode Video Micro Pro and go into the audio input with that. And then I'll use my LumiCube underneath it, and this thing gets really, really bright. This thing's rated at like 250 watts, which is really bright for just a little tiny light like this. All right, so there are a few things about this that I don't like. The one thing is the fact that it needs an app to run, and I've just always struggled with apps. I don't know if it's an age thing or whatever, but apps just tend to not work well quite frequently. They'll crash, they won't sync up, and some of the most specific problems I've had with this one is boot time. You know, it could take up to 2 minutes for this thing to connect to the Osmo and then to give me a picture to where I can go to work. The other one is battery life. The battery's only good for about 45 minutes if you're working it, I mean, full-time hard. An hour is pretty much max for this thing. And then low light. It doesn't do well in low light. You really have to have proper lighting to get the best out of this. Now, outdoors, this thing just rocks. Indoors, plan on putting some light on whatever it is you're shooting because it just won't cut it. And then one other thing that I did with mine is that because it uses a phone to operate on, I just found an old iPhone I had and updated the DJI app for it, and it just lives on here. I don't use this phone for anything but for this. So when I fold it up and put it in my camera bag, that's it. It stays on there. I charge them both at the same time, and it makes it just easy. You pull it out, you're not looking for your phone doesn't ring in the middle of while shooting, and it just does a really good job with that. Well, that's it for my 2 cents on the DJI Osmo. Please leave your questions and comments. That'll help others with their knowledge about the small tools used for film and video production. And if you would, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and that way you'll know when I post a new video. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned. This thing rocks.